Oh, okay. So this is my first attempt at a woodworking YouTube. I'm a balding dude from Nebraska, so you're gonna see me go like that a little bit. But the idea here is I've been watching all these woodworking videos, and they're very, I mean, they're amazing woodworkers, and they got everything like demoed, and they have these incredible tools. I do have a few nice hand tools. This is like I think a crown chisel, but we're talking entry level, not $100 chisel. So I have a functional wood shop with some good stuff, some of my grandpa and dad stuff, and I sort of I'm a hack. And nonetheless, I'm still everything it seems like I'm doing for the first time, and I do some research. I have a couple of great books, James Krenov and Taj Fried, who I always so I have some resources and stuff. But right now I'm working on doing Dovetails, which I think everybody thinks is super cool, and I'm playing with different types of ways to use the chisel. And so let's just flip this around, if it'll do that. No, I guess I got to do it manually. So this is what I'm currently working on. I can't see if that's focused or not. You can see I'm doing a drawer here, pretty simple stuff. And I've been playing around with different types of chisel cuts. I machine cut my tails, and I'm hand cutting the plugs. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. So maybe I keep a cutting and make my last cut here, and then figure out how I'm gonna put a camera down here to show you what I'm doing, and then maybe that'll be part 2. So okay, so I changed my shirt. I didn't. It's the next day. I got interrupted, but a lot of the guys use these like really sweet bench vices. I don't know exactly what they're called. I don't have one of those. They line up their tail pieces there. I'm just using these right corner gauges, so right angle vices or whatever. And you can use a pencil. I just got this sweet little knife because it looked neat, and using a knife or anything that you're scoring is great because it creates a sort of lead edge, like a little pilot hole for a chisel or a saw to sit into. So it's very convenient. And see if I can show you here what I've got. Alright, so what's left, you should be able to see, yeah, they're scored there. So I'm definitely mark. Never find my pencil. I think this will happen all the time. I mark just like you would on a chop saw. Mark the material that I'm going to cut away, so I know what side my blade is going to go on, and so I don't actually cut away one of my plugs. I only do this because I accidentally cut away one of my plugs relatively recently. So we're going to throw this back up there. We have Pablo the Spaniard on my woodshop table. He's hey Pablo. He's a cat. I mean, we just let this happen, I guess. That's pretty awesome. So I'm just going to keep working with Pablo here. I hope that's okay with you. It's totally okay with me. I don't usually let him on countertops, but I want to chase him away. So I draw my first cut before I start to push to get a nice groove going. All the teeth are faced forward, so your forward push is the one where it's really going to give a little resistance, so you got to sort of firmly go after it. And that line there, obviously, is going to be your depth. So I cut a little bit further down in the back than here, the lead in the front, right to that edge. And one thing I've got, it's really nice to have a lot of light in your wood shop, but this edge is there, you can barely see it, and I can barely see it because I've got a shadow over there. So you can see as I do this that the pencil, for the most part, just fits just like your chisel's gonna, especially if it's sharp, right into that edge. I'm only doing this so I can see it better. So now you got a a nice clean line. On this side, I'm in shadow over here, and I want to make sure I don't cut further deep in those because I'll have to fill it. Anything you don't cut cleanly, if there's a little gap, that's totally fine and I think relatively normal. You just got to take a little sliver and some glue and fill that gap. So we're going to pull it, get a nice little start cut, and a nice strong push. Right down to my edge. And again, it looks like I'm dipping the handle of my saw because I'm not cutting horizontally or perpendicularly. Whatever. Alright, so I'm just going to keep going here. So you can see they're all cut down to that score line. And from the top up, you know, they look all pretty decent. We're going to chisel away the insides, but the outsides, it's easy enough just to cut the ends off here. And I did that same scoring line there, which is sort of we'll call it a pilot line. Making up all sorts of shit. Just cut that off. Woo-hoo. I want it to walk. Nice line. And then this one guy made this little popping thing. He's like, I mean, he was so satisfied with himself, but truth be told, it doesn't leave a clean edge. Well, I mean, it's not leaving a clean edge for me. So, I was like, wow, take it easy, dude. But here we go. So we're just going to pull a nice clean line right through that pilot line. Give it a little push. And I'm just going to cut until it just falls right off. It's a little far away, but I think you get the idea. So our ends are done, and you can see there's that little weird pop thing, a little bit of material I need to clean out. And this side, on the other hand, looks pretty clean. All right. So, so you can see we've got nice X's here. I'm just going to repeat those with the pencil that, incredibly, I can't find already. Oh, there it is. Again, you know, I just make this stupid proof for myself. Stupid proof for myself. All right. You know, I want to know the material that I'm cutting, so I'll keep the other ones pretty. So I'm going to start with the big end. That's just what I'm going to do. And there are two types of chisel move that I'm going to show you. Alright, so the first one I'll show you is this two-tap one, which is going to come off the line, and you're basically just, I'm going to go ahead and do it right in the middle. You're going to beat the shit out of that thing, straight down on it. I'm trying not to hit my phone. So, I had to hit that a lot because I don't have a lot of movement. So you got the first one. It should be like hit, maybe just two good solid strikes. And then I'm going to go back to that line and straight up and down. Alright, cool. And I do have a really sharp chisel here, so I'm going to just follow that leading edge. And because it's sharp, just with the weight of my hand, I can just push it right down. So I'm not cutting into my little tails there, or my plugs rather. Same with this guy. Nice and sharp like. Cool. Alright, so that's a 2 plug, and why don't we go ahead and do the other side of it just to show you right there. So now we got this chisel, and it's a smaller plug here, so I'm going to do the same thing where I'm going to go off the line. Cool. And you can see usually it's like 2 good strikes and that'll come out. And this is already part of the struggle that I had doing this type. Alright, so I can get a little more oomph. So this is really nice this way because obviously you're doing sort of a safety cut. So that's the kind of hit that you really want to do, not that little weak tappy thing. Right into your little pilot line. Boom, boom, right? So you can see this sort of has exploded all of that material out. I'm gonna just see if I can work the rest of it out. I really love working with chisels and hand tools. It's really satisfying. So if you're looking at one of these, like, I guess the jigs go from like $100 to $300. Unless you're going to be commercially, you know, making stuff, there's no real reason to have one of those jigs, I don't think. Okay, so what you got here, of course we're going to have to clean away this material. I just use a scoring knife. I also just use an X-Acto knife. It actually tends to work the best. You do have to replace the blades, so there's a little material right there. I'm just going to sort of pop that out, no problem. So what you have is a really flat, really clean, I mean that surface right there. And so that is the sort of two. You do your starting chisel and then the secondary chisel on that pilot line. I do the big end first because otherwise the chisel sort of plunges in. If you're going from the big end down, your chisel potentially could plunge into that, which isn't a big deal because it's going to be hid inside the wood, but even still, I start from the big end and then knock it out with a small. Again, sort of first cut, second cut. So this is the other way. This is, I think, Taj Fried and Krenov, they have this kind of older school chisel technique, which does take a little more time. You can pop one of those things out with, like, 4 good hits. You go, just boom, 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 and it comes out on that clean edge. But so I've just increased my scoring line, and I'm gonna then. Yep. So obviously you got your straight back end when you want to do a straight cut. And if you want to remove the material and push it away, you're going to use the beveled edge. So I'm just going to get under there really gentle like and get that, sort of paper thin edge away. So I've got a nice clean leading edge still, and I might even take one more little tap. Same thing. A little bit of material I can just push through. And again, I'm just gonna, now you can either go from inside the wood, just dig in, or from the edge. And that's just gonna pop that right away. Okay, real nice. And here's the trick. At this point, rather than continuing to plunge straight down on that right angle, I'm gonna turn the blade over to this side as opposed to this leading edge side like that. And I'm going to put a little, I don't know, maybe 30-degree angle into the socket, like so. Give it a nice little swap there, and then just press in my sides. And I like to go from the outside, just seems pretty clean that way. Alright, so again you can see already that this is taking a little bit longer, but I like the result, which you'll see in just a moment. Okay, that's going inside the pocket there. Maybe I can fit one more with this size chisel before I have to move down. So that's good. And so I'm about halfway through my plug here. So I'm going to do this and just give it one more pop, and then leave it. On this side I've got my smaller chisel. Same game. Leading edge. Again, I got a real nice sharp chisel. That leading edge is so sweet. I just started using that scoring device, and let me say, it was worth the $11. But I bought the cheap one, and the little wheel, it's got the little screw right there, and if you go right, which I think is the natural way I want to go, it loosens it and gets wobbly, so I'm going to have to go left. So I guess you get what you pay for. Nonetheless, I can go the opposite direction, no biggie. Alright, so we did just that first little layer, and that's deep enough that I'm going to go ahead and flip this over right now. I don't really need to go any further. And again, I'm plunging just a little bit, and that pulls that right away into the pocket there. Okay, got a little bit of leftover material right there. We'll just clear it away real nice like. Again, what that's left over, you know, you can either use a knife. I think an X-Acto knife works great. Just clear it away. Cool. And I'll futz a little bit later. But, so you can see, as opposed to this really straight, sort of right angle, this plunges in. I don't know how well you can see that. So it's got a little divot in it, you know, almost at like 30-degree angles, a little gully. And I think that's nice for glue. The edge is clean on both sides. Really beautiful, in fact. And this is a little quicker, and it's going to butt right up in there. But you know, the expansion and contraction thing, I think you put the other plug in there, you know, you're not supposed to need glue for joints, but I use glue on, I use it because, you know, I want it to, I don't know, because I guess I'm not that woodworker, but the glue, it's going to expand into that, you know, and fill out that space real nice. Yeah, so I'm going to cut the rest of these off, and I'll show you what I've got left, and then we'll pop it into the tails and see how well we did. All right. Here we go. All right, so you can see I'm using that plunge cut, and it's hard to see, but there's nice, we have a really clean facing edge on both sides, and there's a nice little divot inside. And I didn't have to do too much cleanup. I will say that there's a little less cleanup. And I'm going to pop this in right now, just, you know, to see if it fits, and then show you how to trim the edges. So I'm just going to slide this in and see. I don't think I'm going to be able to, maybe with this bottle of glue, maybe just like that. Ooh, nice. That's what I'm calling tight bond right there. So I've just got them right there. Oh, goodness. So that slid in really, really fast, so I would probably assume it's a little loose. But you can see I've got some pretty nice edges there. And there's my nice and tight leading edge line. So I'll glue these in, and then, you know, these guys use these really nice planers to trim these edges up. Planers are hard to work with. Mine works okay, but I'll probably just use a sander. So you can see there, pretty nice. On this leading edge is a little gap, a couple of small gaps. I'll sand that down and then see where I'm left. So that's your basic sort of dovetail size. So that is that. How to cut awesome dovetails, so on and so forth. Have a lovely day. And yeah, I don't know, I'll see if this turns out, and then maybe I'll make another one. Eat your heart out, Brooklyn.